Soundstripe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Hillary Think Tank, and I'm coming at you live from Tunnel Hills here in Hardin County, Kentucky, where we know that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is what it's all about. But y'all, our pursuit of happiness is being hampered by absolute corruption at the highest levels. This $1.8 million slush fund, at $1.8 billion slush fund that the president handed himself after suing his own department, the Department of Justice. First, he was suing them for $10 billion and threatening that they should never, ever come after his kids or himself to audit his taxes ever again in all their lives. And that he was demanding $10 billion in restitution because someone leaked his tax returns. Well, you know, every president before him had shown their tax returns to U.S. citizens so that we could be sure that our presidents in the past were not corrupt. This president just put a big old thumb in our eye when it comes to that. So, do we like a thumb in our eye? Do we love corruption? That's my question to you. So, let's take a little gander at how this $1.8 billion is possibly going to be spent. Tell me if you think this is what you voted for. You know, that's the biggest question.
Turn now to your money tonight. The Justice Department has now set up a fund paid for in taxpayer money, $1.8 billion.
Taxpayer money.
What the president calls an anti-weaponization fund to compensate Trump allies, including the rioters on January 6th. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, the Justice Department announcing a new so-called anti-weaponization fund, $1.8 billion in taxpayer money to be given away to allies of President Trump who claim they were unfairly treated by the Biden DOJ. Among those who could see payouts, the 1,600 people charged in connection with the riot at the Capitol on January 6th. President Trump told his supporters to march to the Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness.
Today, the president defending the new fund.
This is reimbursing people that were horribly treated. It's anti-weaponization. They've been weaponized. They've been, in some cases, imprisoned wrongly.
The fund is part of a legal settlement between President Trump and his own administration. The president agreeing to drop his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS over the leak of some of his tax returns several years ago. He's also dropping $230 million in claims against the Justice Department for investigations they launched against him. President Trump has acknowledged the unprecedented circumstances, a president suing his own administration, which he controls. Democrats.
Absolutely unprecedented corruption and just turning us into a banana republic. No more democracy in a republic. We are now a banana in a republic. When you are allowed to attack U.S. Congress and you're allowed to go in, defecate, put your feces, your poop all over the walls, steal things, ransack the place, try to kill the vice president, try to kill other members of Congress, and you're allowed to do that and told that you're a martyr and a hero, as this president has told those folks from January 6th, then yeah, the writing's on the wall. We are a banana republic.
Tonight, calling it a MAGA slush fund.
Trump pardoned violent insurrectionists who assaulted your Capitol to overturn your votes. And now he wants to give them your hard-earned tax dollars as a reward. Can you believe that?
And again, David, we're talking about nearly $1.8 billion of taxpayer money.
I can believe it, Mr. Schumer, because you don't push back on jack crap. I absolutely believe it. Nothing surprises me anymore, Mr. Schumer, because you will do nothing to be the check and the balance against this king. So, what are we going to do? All right, we got Tom on here tonight. Before I go any further, Tom says, first, I appreciate you using the 1.8 figure instead of the more precise and misleading brand number. Exactly, which is just a play to those writers. And I think I already said hello to Ding. We also got Tom on here saying, allowed to desecrate the Capitol, encouraged, more like allowed and encouraged, both. And now they're being encouraged to do it again if called upon, because he has a $1.8 billion slush fund that will go to all of those rioters if they ask for it, especially if they promise to do more dirty work. This is unlike anything we've seen in this nation. We've seen it in a nation that starts with a G and ends in a Y in the past. Even seen it in a nation that starts with an I and ends in a Y in the past. We haven't seen it like this, to this extent, in this nation until now. So, absolute, unfettered corruption. And we're just supposed to act like this is a democracy and a republic. Yeah, I'm not pretending anymore. I don't care. I'm not pretending.
This fund will expire a few weeks before the president leaves office, David.
Rachel Scott with us. Thank you, Rachel.
So it will expire before he leaves office. Okay. Well, if we believe now that he's going to plan on leaving office with this slush fund, you probably got some oceanfront property in Arizona you'll sell me too, right? So, all right, y'all. Phone lines are open. If you want to call me, make your comments, 606-253-9885. That's the show line, 606-253-9885. Give me a call. Let me know what you think of this. And do you think that we're going to be saved by the midterms? That is my concern now. You know, unless every single American gets up in arms and gets concerned and gets out in the streets from now until November, yeah, I'm very concerned. Because we know now that unfettered access to taxpayers' dollars corrupts, and it corrupts completely. And that's what we have. Never in our history have we had a president that makes this much money off of being the president. Ever in our history. So we have got to fix this. But we can only do it if we're all in the streets from now until November. I'm going to attempt to fix it by starting right here in Hardin County. And here in Hardin County, I promise you that I will not be bought or sold by any corporate interests. I will only be there for you, the voter. That's it. So you tell me, what do you expect from your elected leaders? Lines are open. Go on ahead and give me a call if you want, or put something here in the comments. But is there an example of more corruption than this? And what is the corporate Democratic response? Because we've got so many corporate Democrats who obviously really don't care about this. They're not doing anything. They're not staging any protests themselves. We've got only person that I've seen that's given some real pushback is Representative Jamie Raskin, who introduced the No Taxpayer Funded Settlement Slush Funds Act of 2026 to block what he called Trump's illegal and unprecedented taxpayer-funded MAGA slush fund. Critics, including Capitol police officers, have filed suit to block the fund, with Senator Ron Wyden calling it potentially the most brazenly theft and abuse of taxpayer dollars by any president in American history. Very few people saying anything at all. I don't see Schumer tying himself to any lampposts or anything to get attention to the fact that democracy is dying in silence. Only a couple of people are coming out and actually trying to push back on this. So, were they all okay with those rioters trying to kill them, whether they were Republican or Democrat? That's my question. I think that they absolutely were okay with it, and they're still okay with it. So, all right. Well, again, we know that this corruption will see no end, from what I can tell. So until it does, we've got to be constantly out putting the real truth to the streets, getting shoe leather out to get this voted on. All right, Veronica says, I look like an NPR listener. Well, I don't take that as anything really that would be bad. I haven't listened to NPR in a while, but I have in the past, sure enough. I mean, do you have to be an NPR listener to think that corruption is an absolute heinous position for our country to be in? I don't think so. I think the corruption stinks to high heaven. All right, y'all. So hopefully we all have something to think about. We all have something to act on. And when you go to the polls this November, I will be there on the ballot. I will be there for you. And I will be speaking truth to power. Until then, keep your powder dry, stay sharp, keep thinking. Remember, everyone deployed overseas right now, bless your corazón. United will stand, divided will fall.
Beans shipping cross country in refrigerated trucks. And third, they take hand cooked and model bush beans. In the 50s and 60s, convenience became king, and TV did it. Soaking overnight, got laid But here's what they didn't say. Old-fashioned means it actually works. Your great-grandfather didn't grow salad runners because they were trendy. He grew them because when the bank foreclosed on farms across the